Did you have a fun time at Dad's this weekend?
Last weekend?
Last weekend, yeah.
I did indeed.
My wife and daughter and I came to Seattle to visit, and we stopped at our dad and stepmom's house.
Mm-hmm. That's, the second time we've been there in the 8 years they've been married?
Yeah, I spent
Both
the
since you've had
entire
the kid.
time. I spent the entire time laying on my back on their floor because of my inflamed sciatica.
How much of that was actually your inflamed sciatica?
It really-
And how much of it was just wanting to fucking zone out?
It
I looked down
really-
at you and I was jealous. I wanted to be pretending to be asleep too.
Just laying on the ground, closing your eyes. It felt
and using
great.
their coffee table as a prop for your leg.
Yeah, I was doing all sorts I was setting things, the beer down. First of all, I think it's so funny that Dad offers us a drink, and he had given me muscle relaxers for my leg. And he's like, maybe you shouldn't drink it with a beer. And I go, I kind of want it with a beer. So he went and grabbed us a beer, and it's always Bud Light.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was setting that all over the place, like without coasters and leaving rings. Like, fuck you, stepmom. Maybe I won't say her name.
Probably better not to. I like stepmom though. They get the idea.
My leg really hurt, and I think that when I'm in an undesirable situation like that, it just makes my leg hurt more, just because I'm already miserable.
How do you feel sitting next to me right now? How's your leg?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, of course you are. I'm a
and
handsome
even
fella.
when we were there at Dad's house and we went to that deli, the Jew deli, my leg felt pretty good that whole time we were there. And then we came back, and I'm like, oh, let me lay on the ground.
But it's
stretch it
actual
out.
physical pain. You're not faking it.
No. I was.
It
in
just
a lot
seems
of
to
pain.
worsen around stressful situations.
Yeah.
Which would be Dad and our
Right,
stepmom.
and not so much stressful. I guess she does kind of like yell at him a little sometimes.
More than a little, from what I've heard.
But it's just, well, I mean, in front of us, it's just, it's just uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable. Nobody knows what to say. It's it seems like both times we've been there recently, like they're ready for it. They're waiting for us to get there.
Right.
Dad's running out of the garage when we pull up.
Always right there. We pulled up, and as we were pulling in, the garage door opened.
And I just feel like he's looking behind his back constantly, like he's in such fear of his wife.
He is, and I really get the idea too that he gets really concerned, like he doesn't want to get, because he might get yelled at a lot more when we're not around, but he always seems so desperate to make sure that's not happening. But he'll get into little snip arguments, like he was doing something with feeding Sophie, my daughter. Is that the first time I said her name?
Second, I slipped up and said it the first time.
Something about feeding her, and my wife said she was like, oh, just put the macaroni in this bowl, and he kept it in the bowl it came in, and his wife is like, don't you listen?
Yeah.
And real uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was another instance like that. She's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but first of all, Dad now biggest pussy in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas
especially
before,
compared to growing up.
I don't know that we've talked about this before on the show, but Dad used to be like a terrifying individual, like our whole growing up until like we were old enough to realize he was full of shit.
Not physically abusive.
Not physically.
I mean, very the swats with the spatula. I remember,
and the thump on the head.
The thump on the head. Nothing big. He was such an unhappy guy, and he was just so mean.
Yeah, very mean.
And it's all your fault because you were conceived. And then he had to marry Mom, and it was all our fault, and that's why they couldn't get divorced, and they made sure.
And you and Mom fucking hated each other.
Yeah, my entire childhood. And that would always cause the rift, because first thing when he came home, Mom would be bitching about everything I did, and then that's when I was scared. I'd just fucking hide in my room. But I couldn't help but piss Mom off every day. I just rubbed her so the wrong way.
Yeah, but you can't act like you did not antagonize her a lot of the time.
No, I did big time.
And I'm not saying she didn't deserve it a lot of the time.
Well, but Sorry,
Mom. You know what I just envisioned? Mom listening to this particular episode, and then like finally they're ripping on their dad, and then you see how it slowly transitioned into "fuck you, Mom."
I'll say that I did egg Mom on, but it wasn't very motherly like anger that she got with me. It was more like if it was someone my age who hated me. It was just a vindictive anger.
Yeah.
And no matter how much she knew that it would like piss Dad off and just ruin his whole fucking night and his fucking life, that she's complaining to him about me, she'd still do it all the time. And I'd fucking hide because he was scary.
He was
You
scary.
could hear the keys jingling, but just from his voice, he was all talk.
Yeah, that's what I was getting
We
at.
find out later.
Yeah. Like, had you ever seen Dad cry before Mom left him?
I don't think so, but a lot afterwards.
I remember him crying once, like when we were pretty young, but it was definitely like financially related.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I remember like he was like crying but hiding it, like he was in the laundry room, and I found him, and I was like, oh, that's odd.
I think he wanted to be found, probably.
No, he didn't at that time.
Really?
No, Dad had dignity back then.
Okay.
I mean, it was an asshole type of dignity.
Right. Right.
But now,
By the way,
like,
ouch on calling out Dad's lack of dignity these days.
not to his face.
Yeah, I know.
And we know he doesn't listen.
Yeah.
But I have a great dad story to tell.
Let's hear it. Bring it on.
Okay.
Bring it on, brother.
I want to make sure I finish my last thing.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't even remember what the last thing was. But oh yeah, it was just basically about how Dad used to be the scariest guy in the world, and now he's the biggest pussy in the world. And like, it's a weird adjustment. Even 8 years
yeah.
of him being the pussy
Because
that he
you
is.
caught him crying, and then it was not hidden anywhere. In
Oh
the
no!
years.
As soon as
But the
Mom
thing
left
was-
Dad, 19 years of marriage, I get it, but whatever. He
But
fucking
the
hated her
thing
the
is,
whole.
they were
time.
so miserable the whole time. It is so what they needed.
I remember, like,
Because say what you will about Dad now, at least he's calm.
that's true, and he's lost a lot of weight.
Right, and you know he's in a bad situation where he's at right now, but at least he's not a fucking asshole anymore.
Yeah, he kind of is. He's just different about it now.
I think he has a lot of respect for you and I, which is so bizarre. Like, he realizes pretty much that he just fucking cut us loose once he met his current wife, and he's proud of where we both turned out. You know.
Yeah.
Neither of us are drug addicts or homeless. Just the weed, which we don't really hide from him at all. We're talking about hemp fest right in front of him.
Yeah.
Do you remember your great dad story?
Yeah, I do, and it kind of ties in with what you just said. But
Because we're brothers, we are so on the same wavelength.
Yeah. When you had said Dad, like cutting loose, like he abandoned the house.
Oh yeah,
But that's not even. You can talk about that in a
and
second.
his children.
And his children.
Yeah.
Yes. He found this woman on the internet. Oh God, there's so many things to say.
Found a woman first. There was a lady he found. Do you remember?
Kansas.
From Kansas. What was her name?
Oh, I don't know. Kansas, let's say.
She had 2 kids, and they had a big internet romance. I remember her sending him an email that said, like, my daughters want to know if they can send you a Father's Day card. And like, he was so proud of that email.
You know
and
what?
Then he sent her like $800 to fly them all out here, cash, or maybe in a check. I don't know.
I think she
Sent her-
gave some explanation as to why it had to be cash.
Yeah, you know, he didn't buy her a ticket. He sent her money. Boom, she was God. It was
dude.
so fucking
What's
brutal.
funny about that is, like, Dad was so into her from the beginning. Mom left Dad, and then, like, he just didn't know what to do. 20 years of marriage, and
He
now
started
all of a
going
sudden
back
he's
to church all the time.
And
like,
remember,
just to get the
we'd go to the
sympathy.
grocery store, and like he would just start bawling in front of the checkers.
Yeah, and
Like,
he
he
had
was just
such a
looking for-
deep personal relationship with all those checkers.
Yeah, but shit, what did you just say?
He was the lady stole all his money and stuff, and he was a wreck after that. Now Mom left Dad February of one year. He grieved for a while. We went to California so that he could visit all her family, just for attention.
And so I could see my internet girlfriend oddly.
Yeah,
Speaking
yeah.
of Dad.
That was in the trip.
We were both going through our own things.
And we brought our cousin Daniel back with us. What's up, Daniel? Are you still listening?
Doubt it. Guy has not left a comment in a while.
But then he met his current wife, and it was so quick. And I remember it was a thing where he was like, I met this woman, and I like her so much. And this is all on
This is
AOL.
when Dad decided I have to switch to local chat room so I don't get fucked again.
Semi-local.
At least I can keep my eye on this one.
In Washington, like, I don't know where she lived at the time, in Bellevue or something. And we lived in Tacoma. And it was all about taking it slow. And then immediately, I remember I had a big meltdown because I was a faggot, and something about the religion, and because after Mom left, he was taking us to meetings all the time, or to church, and it got me like really spiritual. And I was like happy that like we were gonna be going to church all the time and stuff. I was so confused.
Sorry, I'm not Jesus.
And and oh yeah, and then this lady, his current wife, was not a Jehovah's Witness. And he was like, well, and I was like begging him not to go on a date with her.
Really?
It's so embarrassing. Yeah.
You were
And
never
he
even
was-
baptized. I didn't know you had
I
such
know. I
a
was
such
so-
strong view.
Such
for
a
it.
sensitive kid. I was like 15. But then he was like, well, I am going to meet her the one time, but I will tell her that, I promise you. I swear to God, when he came back from that first thing, it was that he was in love. And then it was immediately about marriage. And then it was saying corny shit like, nothing would make me happier than my 2 sons standing with me at the altar. And then later he told us that we weren't invited, that we couldn't go. And then he got married like 3 days after Mom did, but Mom had left Dad for the guy that she eventually married. So she'd been going out with him for like a year. Well, who knows how long she was fucking him. It was a year after after she left Dad that she married him. But Dad had met this woman and married her like in 3 months, and it was such a pathetic contest he was trying to win.
Yeah.
Like who can get like
And
you
now
can
he's
get
fucking
married,
stuck
I
with
can
it.
get married.
He's been miserable from the
So
beginning.
miserable.
All he would do, like he would use every visit with us like as an outlet to just bitch about what a fucking bitch his wife is. And like it's so frustrating because after so long you're like, just fucking leave her. His reason for not leaving her, oh, I've had 2 failed marriages already, son, I can't have a third. This is a fucking failed marriage, whether you stick with it or not.
From what
it
our
has
uncles
never
and
been a good
aunts
marriage.
and even grandma tells us, he's always just like wanted to be married. That's why he's married 3 awful women. I mean, not that you're awful, Mom. I'm not saying that at all.
Whoa,
My God.
whoa.
You guys weren't compatible. It was a bad idea for you guys to get married.
You were an awful couple.
Yeah, it was bad.
But she got 2 great kids out of it. Me and Melissa, I mean. Oh, sick burn.
And also Dad's current wife. I don't want to let her off the hook so easy. She really like forbid him from seeing us, like really spending a lot of time with us. We both borrowed money from him since he married this woman
Early on into their
and
marriage.
she
but yeah.
has such a fucking fit about it. But like they put her kids like they pay for his apartment and they pay for his law school and everything, and he's not allowed to help his kids out at all.
When I explain this to people, like when I'm talking about our family to people, when I really start to open up, the one story I tell that seems to make people get it, and this is the terrible story, is, and I don't remember if you were there for it or not, but Dad had already like left town, like, you know, to Bellevue or wherever, and he's
left the house, just quit paying on the house,
abandoned our house,
left everything in the house, and then
Left
got pissed
us
when
high
I
and
sold
dry.
it all.
Yeah.
I was homeless. I had to make some money.
You weren't homeless. You were living in the abandoned house. But I had moved away by that point.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Nick moved to Yakima and forbid me from moving here. And you're going to deny it.
Because
Just
it's
like
not
you forbid
true.
me from going to work tour.
You make me out to be such an asshole, and at least 60% of the time, you've completely made up the story.
No, that is not
or
true.
it started with some seed of truth, and then you make it to be something ridiculous.
In this particular instance, you never told me like not to move to Yakima. But you were like a real dick anytime I talked about it, and you did not want it to happen.
Well, you know why? Because I thought you'd come, and then you'd be funnier than me, and you would steal all my friends. And then, lo and behold, that's why I have to move away from you every time. Let me tell my great, horrible.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Let me cough first.
Pretty much, I fucking showed you. You live in Seattle, and I live in Yakima. Still.
Oh, yeah.
Thug life.
So early on into Dad's marriage, like it was obvious, like he got our little sister, like he only sees her for 8 hours a month.
Right.
And like looks for reasons to get out of that half the time.
Yeah.
And you know, she does have special needs, you know, whatever. We can get into that at a later time. But like still, it's your fucking daughter, you know.
We'll bleep it, don't worry.
Yeah, thank God. We should come up with a fake name for her. Skeletor.
No, Skeletor is thin as hell.
Oh, that's true.
How about
Neckfurter is what we used to call her.
Neckfurter? So
Let's
fucking
explain
mean,
why.
and I love it.
Because
the back of her neck looks like hot dog.
looks like a packaged hot dog.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, like she basically she hates any reminder of Dad's previous life.
Neckfurter?
Yeah, Neckfurter.
Does she hate aspects of Dad's previous life but love mustard and ketchup all over the back of her neck? And then have Dad nibble it.
I
Chew the
hear
fat, so to speak.
I hear that when they're fucking, she has to be called Dodger Dog in order to come. But so anyway, the point of the story is that Dad like okay, here's the story. So we have this uncle, Dad's brother, that we were hanging out with for a while. Like we would hang out.
Give me a first initial sign.
T.
T. Uncle
Wears
T.
a cowboy hat sometimes.
What's up?
Used to.
Uncle Tracy. He'll be proud.
Yeah. If he hasn't killed himself. I haven't heard from that guy in a long
Okay.
time. Anyway, we were hanging out at Tracy's house, and Dad showed up, and Dad had like, hey, Tracy, I got this vintage Coke cooler that I'm not doing with anything with anymore. Do you mind if I stow it away with you? And Tracy's like, no, just put it in the basement. So anyway, Dad hangs out for a while. He leaves the cooler there, and then for some reason, I can't remember why, but we decided to open the cooler, like see what kind of space it had inside.
Oh, yeah.
And every fucking picture that Dad had with him that had me, you, and or our little sister Melissa in them were all in there. And he later confessed to me that's because Debbie made him get rid of all the pictures of his
There
own
are
fucking
pictures
kids.
of her kids all
That's
over
the story
the house.
that will get a girl to blow you.
Really?
It really is. Yeah, they dig that shit. Like when I really get into family shit, oh man.
Swingers taught me that it's girls that have the daddy issues.
Oh no, PJ. It's the 2000s, my friend.
I've never tried that approach. I'll tell it to my wife and maybe I'll get blown.
Well, I don't
We're
know.
on
that
a
this
give and
works.
take policy. I think she owes me like 5 seconds worth right now.
C is for Cineplexity.
I is for eye and knee sky.
Bad start. N is for.
I like.
Well, I gotta use my name.
N
Nick.
is never watching Nev Campbell movies.
Okay. Anyway, that's our official theme song for Cineplexity.
Yes.
Let's start. I'll read first. We
Okay.
didn't discuss this beforehand. The character is a magician, mermaid, or mad scientist. Oh, also we're topping out at 10 minutes. What time is it right now?
Oh, well, we'll be done by 10 minutes. We promise.
Magician, mermaid, or mad scientist.
Mermaids?
Splash. In an attic or basement.
Uh,
A mad scientist is going to work out of a basement, if anywhere.
did the Doc work out of his basement? No, he had that weird farmhouse thing.
Yeah, otherwise known as an attic. Let's continue.
So we'll say Back to the Future then. All right. Production. Title consists of one word.
Okay.
One word. Theme, a sibling relationship.
Ooh. Sibling rivalry is 2 words.
Uh-huh.
Also a great Scott Bakula vehicle.
I have a good one.
Hold on. Can you put the cards down? You never remember to do that. And really, it's fucking pissing me off now.
Okay, I
We're 8
apologize.
episodes in. Sibling relationship title consists of one word. Oh. Just say it. If you know it, say it.
Mine's a cheat. It's a duet starring Gwyneth Paltrow, directed by her brother.
But that's not
Bruce
the theme
Paltrow.
of the movie.
Yeah, sure it is.
Okay.
I'm sure there's something in Magnolia.
I feel, oh, yeah. Sibling relationship? Who?
I don't know. I can't think of any siblings.
No, you're right.
The
I don't want
dad-
to spend this much time thinking about
Did
it.
the
but
dad
definitely not.
in Magnolia, was he raping his daughter? Was that what was going on?
Yeah. Philip Baker Hall.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Literally.
Gross.
Your turn.
All right. Do you remember which card is my draw from pile? Considered art house,
Oh, God.
and the character is wise or clever. Croupier.
Okay, very good.
Didn't
Thank
even give
you.
a
Thank
chance.
you.
Do you think we should just move on? Like, do we try and make a joke for every answer that we give? Because all I did was say croupier. Now we're reading again.
I think that happens. We
Rent-
can't, we
rent
can't be on
croupier.
all the time.
Hey, PJ.
While you're at it,
Can you spell croupier? This is killing some time.
CROUPIER.
I wasn't serious. Fucking read.
Critiques is a noteworthy kiss. Actor better known as a singer or a musician.
Oh, Um,
Purple Rain.
I was gonna say Glitter.
Was that?
There
There's
was-
no noteworthy kisses in those.
Purple Rain. There's a noteworthy kiss in that movie, or he just has a song called Kiss,
No, I have no idea. I've never seen it.
or
Oh, you know what? There's in 8 Mile when he fucking takes Brittany Murphy and he's sexing her up and they're making out and they're effing.
oh yeah, that was a noteworthy fuck more so than a kiss.
There was some good kissing in there. I'm sure it was nominated for an MTV Movie Award.
Yeah.
Your turn.
All right. The scene is at least 5 people die in one scene. That's a card I've
Nice.
never seen before. And the character is a doctor or a dentist.
Did you know that Mark Ruffalo is in The Dentist starring Corbin Burnson?
No.
That's my answer.
Is that your answer? 5 people died in one scene?
Uh,
All with a drill, right?
Instead of an answer, I gave you a little bit of movie trivia.
Okay.
Impress your friends. Scenes in the rain. Scenes, hurricane, snowstorm, or volcano.
Oh, easy. Put them down. In the rain.
Dante's Peak with
Fucking Twister.
the acid rain.
Right?
Yeah.
Twister.
Yeah, Twister.
Okay. Moving on then. Characters with a life-threatening disease. In a shower, bathtub, or hot tub.
There's got to be a hot fuck scene in Philadelphia, right? I've never seen it because I don't support the gays, but
Me neither, but I jack off thinking about it. That's what the movie could be.
Antonio Banderas.
Is he in that movie?
Yeah, he's the gay lover.
See, I could jerk off to him, but only if he's wearing the Zorro mask.
I could jerk off to him if he's fucking Melanie Griffith.
Or if he's looks like the Nasonex B.
Or if he's starring in Too Much with Daryl Hannah and Melanie Griffith.
I don't know what you just said.
He pretends to be twins because he's dating sisters. Scenes, a dance sequence. Scenes, a confession.
A confession in a dance sequence.
Yeah.
Angus confessed, "I'm a fat kid." Remember?
That's true. And
Actual line of dialogue.
Didn't James Vanderbeek confess in Angus that he was gay?
And he also confessed. Oh, that's an actual legit answer, though, Angus. I go back. Because he did confess to, at one time, being bulimic, but then he tried to eat his own arm.
Oh, yeah. Plus, the kid confessed that he gave the videotape to Rick. Chris Owen confessed that he gave the videotape of Angus dancing around with
Oh, yeah.
with a blow-up doll.
He had to. He got thrown into a dumpster.
Oh,
Kid was not well.
little bitch.
Is it your turn or my turn?
Your turn to read.
Employer-employee relationship is a theme.
Okay.
In a coma or sleeping.
I'm going to say Mission Impossible 3, and this is why.
Because you've been wanting to talk about it.
Because I watched that movie, and it's fucking awesome.
You know what? Let's end Cineplex for tonight. Just talk about this for a little bit.
Okay. My thing with Mission Impossible 3 is that it's a really great movie, and Philip Seymour Hoffman plays such a fucking badass villain in it. But I remember reading an interview with him in an article. Does that sound right?
No.
An interview with him in an article in a magazine where it said, or I guess he didn't even say it, but that it was like it came out after he won the Oscar for Capote, and it was sure to mention he accepted the role before winning the Oscar for Capote. Like, I don't know, it just really pissed me off.
Because he wouldn't do that movie had he gotten an
I
Oscar?
guess it was like, hey guys, I just won an Oscar, but I'm not Helen Mirren, who then signed on to the National Treasure sequel. You know, I had already decided this, and that's why I was in fucking Twister too.
Has Joan Allen been nominated for anything ever? Because she's in Death Race now.
Yeah, she's not going anywhere. Doesn't that have like a producer from the Bourne Ultimatum?
Oh, maybe so.
That would make sense.
All
Probably
right.
her husband. It's really lame, like when mom or my wife sings along to songs on the radio and they do not know the words. So they start doing the, like the first they start by saying the wrong word. And when they realize it's wrong, they just kind of go,
You remember standing next to Mom at the Kingdom Hall
Oh.
when we would have to sing songs?
and
Her
standing
and
there-
Grandma were the most
Oh.
tone-deaf fucking people ever.
Grandma is the worst singer.
Grandma, I should go see her this weekend. I say that every time I'm here.
When Melissa was here, staying at Lori's house, we took her to go see Grandma.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was something else. It's her husband's on a breathing machine. I haven't seen him in forever. He's just always in the bed. She had a total dad thing to where she met him and said, "Oh, it's gonna go really slow." I remember our friend NK was in town.
And she took us aside and told us
yeah,
that she had met a man.
She had just met him like the day before, and then she said something about I think you guys were here for a wedding. It wasn't mine, but I don't know. There's something going on with a wedding. We were going to a wedding or something.
Well, yours and Grandma's weddings were right around the same time.
Right. But I don't know. She just said something about, so maybe you'll be coming back this time next year for my wedding. It's like, really? You just met him yesterday? And then they were married so quickly.
Yeah, and the weird thing about that was, and just so people know, like, Grandpa died October of 1986. I don't know why I know the month and the year. But, and she had no interest in ever marrying again.
Ever.
Like, she made a point to say it.
She always had the thing where she'd be like, oh, I already met the love of my life. And I wonder how they got along.
And she, still fully in the religion.
Right.
Being a Jehovah's Witness, her whole reasoning was, he was the man that I loved. He died. Once Armageddon comes, new paradise earth, he's going to be resurrected.
And how will that be? Will everyone just be so understanding? Oh, I guess we're going to have two husbands now.
Yeah. Is there polygamy in the new world?
One thing Jehovah's Witnesses are good at is getting married so quickly after meeting. And
it's because they want to fuck.
And even if, especially when, like, if someone will get a divorce, and it's a weird thing in the religion where, like,
all the guys circle the newly divorced girl.
Right. But in order for this girl to be able to be remarried, her husband has to have cheated on her or eventually have
scriptural
someone else.
grounds for divorce. Yeah,
ridiculous. So if you just got divorced for whatever reason, or
if your wife's a bitch but hasn't cheated on you,
or let's say your wife dies and then you turn around, this happened in the Nob Hill congregation here in Yakima, where an old man, I can't remember his name, but his wife died, and within like a week he was engaged to this crazy girl named Maya. Remember her?
Was she engaged to that really old weird dude, Elmer?
Elmer?
Never mind.
I don't know.
Every old person is named Elmer in my head.
This was an old guy from Nob Hill, and his wife died. And he was married to this crazy girl. And
I know now. Yeah.
And she's known for being totally crazy, and she really had a thing for one of our old roommates, Ben. And
I totally forgot. Yeah.
And then I was like, it was so funny because his wife just died, and he's allowed, with all the restrictions in this religion, he's allowed to act like a complete psycho and get engaged to this highly mentally unstable person.
Yeah. Very young mentally unstable person.
Yeah. And I asked our cousin, I was like, oh, is he still engaged to Maya? And he goes, no, they broke up. He's engaged to this girl, Misty Richards now. And do you remember her?
Misty.
She was so fucking ugly.
Yeah, she's the ugliest girl I've ever seen in real life.
The only chance she ever had to get married was to marry this old guy. And then they got married real fast, and she would always, anytime she would answer when they would ask questions to the church, and you could raise your hand and answer, she would answer, and every answer she had would refer to her husband. Like, well, when my husband and I are out spreading the good word, we try to remind each other how much we love each other, and that helps. Like, everything was about her husband. And I just saw him the other day at McDonald's here in town.
Are they? Oh my God! Can you imagine having sex with that woman?
She is so ugly.
Yeah, her face looks like a penis. That's how much of a man she is to me.
Her face seriously looks like flattened and burned with an iron.
Do you know Andy and Tony D?
Yeah,
twin brothers. Yeah. What they used to call Misty Richards?
What?
Mr. Richards.
It's so fucking genius.
It's dead on.
Oh, that's wonderful. So anyway, I guess we were talking about Grandma.
Yeah.
She married this guy. Basically, he needed a nurse, so she married him. And
she only married him. Oh, this is what I was originally going to say, is because he looked remarkably like her old husband,
right,
who she swore that she would never marry again.
Which isn't even really true. And this guy was already fat when she married him, and now he's just extremely fat.
Yeah, and Grandpa was fat, and that's when he died. Why he died when he was
Right.
51.
And that's why this guy is gonna die.
Yeah. But remember how weird it was? Like, she would take him to the Kingdom Hall, the congregation, the church, whatever we're calling it for the layman. And like, she had no shame in, like, holding up a picture of Grandpa to
Comparing
our
them.
step-grandpa's face.
And it didn't-
and saying, don't you see the resemblance?
And it didn't bother him at all because he knew that he was falling apart because he was a fat fuck.
Yeah.
And he had just moved into town, and he was living in this low-rent old people building. And when he moved into Grandma's house, which, by the way, I was living with Grandma at the time, and I kind of got the boot. We went to help him move his mattress, and there was a jack-off rag in the mattress, and it was all stiff. And he, like, snatched it up and was like, oh, that's embarrassing. And now all he does is lay in that bed, and they have a doorbell system where he rings the doorbell, and she goes to see what he wants. And it's all the time. When we go to visit, it's constantly. And it's to empty his fucking bedpans. Like,
what I don't like
she
is, like,
can't
he's
get
so
any enjoyment.
helpless, and yet he has such control over her at the same time.
Right. Our aunt, who is a lesbian. I don't think I'm telling tales from
Former
school.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And now lesbian. Yeah. Which is a huge deal.
And one of the most giving people you'll ever meet. She sends Grandma money all the time. And she happens to
Checks
do this,
which Grandma cashes.
right, but won't let her in the house because her husband says not to, and
Because the Bible says that.
yeah, and he's the man of the house. And she wrote our aunt a scathing letter, which started "Thanks for the money," which is sick enough, and went on to say things like, "The thought of you rolling around in bed having sex with a woman disgusts me." And then I guess
This is recently?
yeah, and I guess she had somehow heard that our aunt went to the Gay Pride Parade in Seattle. And
I was there. I didn't see her.
that was an awkward situation too, because our aunt asked me had I told Grandma that, and I hadn't, and I told her that I didn't. But from that point on, I'm convinced she doesn't believe me. But she never even told me that she was going to Gay Pride. Like, I honestly had no idea she was even there. So I don't know how Grandma found out. But anyway, she was like, to think of you at the Gay Pride Parade walking around with gay naked men disgusts me, and blah, blah, blah. But thanks for the money.
What is... what? She said it again at the end.
Yeah.
What is Grandma's idea of the Gay Pride Parade?
I
was at
know.
the Gay Pride Parade, and I don't recall any actual naked men strolling about.
It is such...
I was envisioning them all naked.
She has such an old person, ignorant point of view about everything. And I think...
And
if
so
not,
much of it is the religion.
But
like,
I think if not
Minch
for
on
her
that light with
husband, she would be okay with it.
oh, yeah. Well, it was... The story I heard was our aunt, who I'll call Aunt Leslie. She, like... had come over to the house after she'd come out and left the religion, and Grandma was apparently like cool enough with it until her husband had caught wind of it, and even like having the ability to get up and see for himself. He just figured out what was going on,
That she was in the house.
yeah. And then so our aunt had left the house thinking everything was okay. She'd had a good discussion with Grandma, whatever. She gets a call on her cell phone from Grandma on her way leaving there.
Yeah.
And Grandma had basically said that her husband said that he was not comfortable with her or her lesbian partner being in their house anymore.
Oh, so ridiculous.
I know.
This aunt has been nothing but nice, and you wonder if you know you're gay and you're in this religion. Basically, you're wasting the time. The religion preaches. It doesn't matter what man it preaches, but it is the exact opposite in reality. That it doesn't matter who you're fooling here on earth. If God knows, you're not going to make it. So if you know that you're not a Jehovah's Witness, that this whole thing is a joke, I believe that's what she admits to, is just thinking the whole religion's a joke the entire time.
Yeah.
Why devote 20 years of your life to it?
Yeah. I understand your question.
It's especially in a small town like this. I guess it's you have a certain status.
Yeah, it's all about image. Like even
Because
after
they're
I started,
a very well liked couple in the religion,
right? But even it doesn't even take that. Like it definitely was status for them.
Yeah.
But even like I was never strong in the religion.
right?
I would show up to enough meetings to where I wouldn't, get called upon. But But yeah, there was a point where I was just doing it because it was expected of me. Like I was already like smoking pot, drinking,
See, I don't
having
understand
sex.
that,
Like
because as soon as I
it's
decided
because I was so
don't like
afraid
this
of the
anymore,
backlash. Like these are all the people that I knew. My only friends and most of my family are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Once I say fuck it to this religion, I have to start from scratch, and that's really scary to think about.
Right.
I've done it, and it's been great.
So maybe that's why she did it for all those years. Maybe that's why the guy from our old Kingdom Hall that was raping his daughter for 20 years.
Blind guy too.
Yeah.
You think she
going.
could just run away from him?
You think she would just like put a pizza pocket there and say, "Ow, it hurts. It hurts."
That's fucked up.
And
We're making jokes about a rape victim that we knew personally.
She was real fucking ugly while he was blind. But he would like give those hour-long talks that you have to fucking spend weeks writing. Why? Why do it? You're raping your stepdaughter. Stop going to the meetings. At least
I can't imagine you raping your stepdaughter
celebrate
and
Christmas.
thinking, I believe in God.
Yeah, and then you can't even buy her like a diamond necklace for her birthday. And mom's like, "Oh, I thought it was suspicious, but."
He gave her a pearl necklace.
Some lingerie, some edible panties. There's no point to this recording.
Who's this totally fuckable chick?
I think that's Maria Menounos from Access Hollywood.
Oh yeah, you can tell that she's probably older than she's letting on.
I don't know, man. She's pretty hot.
Yeah, she is. But so is Carmen Electra in a 40-year-old way.
Ugh, I don't think so.
Oh, come on, man.
Kim Kardashian? I do think so.
Because of the ass?
No. That kind of stuff doesn't impress me. There's this girl at work.
You mean
used to have
asses
a-
in general? I like a good ass.
Wait,
Like if people
a
ask
good
you know,
a good ass, fine. But people like if it's just like an obnoxiously fat ass, they're like, look at it. I want to spread oil all over it. And it's just like, why? Just because it's a huge fat ass? Like if an ass has a great shape, then sure.
no, but it could be a little like Kim Kardashian, like she and Jennifer Lopez. Like it's,
Well, at least from Kim Kardashian's Playboy thing, her ass looked good.
yeah, it looks very good.
Yeah, I mean she's an in shape girl.
But you,
Have you ever seen her sex tape?
no. I tried to find it for free, and I
I seen part of it, and like nowhere in it are her boobs in it, and that's what I really want to see is Kim Kardashian.
What did you see?
Which also really pissed me off about the fucking Playboy spread she did, where in only one was her breast shown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. She was doing it all classy 'cause she's such a classy girl. All the sex video is like her cunt, and of course her ass, and Ray J's humongous cock.
Really?
Oh my god. It's like insanely long, but also really skinny. It looks so fucking weird.
So no boobs though.
No, not really. Like throughout
there's
throughout most
fucking
of
on
it,
though.
she's
Is he
wearing
fucking
a
her with
bra.
her oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
And-
wearing like a bra the whole time.
Is there any oral sex on this as well?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. The Paris Hilton sex video, I've never seen either.
I've seen that. That one was pretty good.
It was?
Yeah, for it being Paris Hilton. I also saw it when it first came out, so I don't know if I have as much a hatred for her as everyone else does.
Yeah, you've watched a lot of TMZ.
I
since then.
definitely find her much less attractive. But then again, I mean, this was like in her younger days. She wasn't like really extremely thin in it. She looked pretty good.
Yeah, never seen it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
This is making me really want to look at porn. You know how long it's been since I've watched porn or like looked it up on the internet or anything?
You don't do it on your home computer?
No, because I share that with my roommate,
Right.
and it's her computer.
But
it's a
it-
living room computer.
It seems like temptation would have one time at least made you
No,
to make
you
a
know
bad
what it is?
decision, jerk off, and
that's-
feel guilty.
That's what worries me is I don't have the temptation like I used to.
Oh.
I'm like, I could watch porn. Like, I've got plenty of DVDs. When I used to buy Hustlers every now and again, they'd come with a free DVD.
You buy Hustler?
Oh, just for the DVD. Like, you're spending $12 for a magazine, but you have, like, a 90-minute hardcore porn. But the thing is, like, they put it in the black, plastic wrap when you buy it, so you can't see what the theme of the DVD is. So sometimes it'd be good, and sometimes it'd be
gamble.
fucking awful. In fact, we have a friend who hasn't been on the show yet, but's going to... I'll just say her name, Haley, because she will be on the show. And she is a virgin. She's very Christian, I should say,
Uh-huh.
and that's why she's 28 years old and has never had sex. And like the idea of sex grosses her out. And
Wow.
so Margaret and I had somehow convinced Haley one night that she should see porn for the first time just to know what sex is. And we went down to the corner store and I bought a Hustler, which I was doing at the time every month when they came out. And so, so sure enough, we opened it up and we're like, we're going to show you porn. And then the porn DVD this particular month was a smoker's fetish porn.
What?
It's
A cock smoker?
No. Well, actually, yes, in a way. So, like, it starts with these women, like, just taking long drags off their cigarettes. And then some guy comes in, or girls, depending on which vignette you're watching. And then, so they'll have a whole scene. And then, like, she'll be blowing a guy, and she'll, like, stop to, like, take a drag of her cigarette. And then blow the cigarette smoke onto his cock and start sucking it again. Like, I can't imagine that being a fetish, but I guess that's what fetishes are all about. But we totally corrupted Haley. Like, that's her idea of sex now. She had never seen porn or, like, real life sex of any kind.
Was she?
And then we show her this fucking smoker's porn.
Was she, like, openly willing to watch it? Because I didn't know that she was, like, a religious person, or at least, like, practicing.
That's why we're having
person.
her on the show.
But she sits
there's going
around-
to be a lot of things to talk about.
She watches us smoke pot and
she'll
she'll watch porn. And
she's judging us the entire time.
Oh,
though.
is she?
Yeah, she totally is. And in fact, she's called me on my alcoholism. Like, she's called me on a lot of shit. Which,
right, but
well,
to
a lot
sit
of people have called me on
But
my
to
alcoholism.
sit there and
but
watch porn, and when we were there for Hempfest, and she was just sitting there while we're just
it
smoking.
took a while to convince her. Like, and I think sometimes she just hangs around with us big pot smokers. And I really do feel that, and I don't really believe in this, but in Haley's case, I do. Contact high. Like, I think sometimes we influence her just with the air that she breathes.
So it's good that Haley is, I guess, strong enough to not feel like she's going to be influenced by hanging around that kind of thing, like how Jehovah's Witnesses aren't supposed to hang around.
Well, the thing is, she has one particular friend that's like ultra Christian also, but to the point where she doesn't really approve of the friends that Haley has chosen to have. Me being one of those friends, Margaret being one of those friends. So, but she does it anyway.
Yeah,
and her friend knows this. She doesn't approve of it. But Haley has made it clear that despite the fact that she doesn't approve, and she'll tell me what I'm fucking doing wrong.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop her from hanging out with us. Like, there's enough to keep it going.
And she's not going to be influenced. She's not going to start smoking pot.
No.
Does she drink?
She doesn't drink. I mean, she'll have a drink occasionally.
Yeah.
But I've never seen. I'm trying to think if I ever have seen Haley drunk. I'm sure I have, but like, it's a delightful drunk, like an innocent drunk, a very PG-13 drunk,
giggly
rated scene.
drunk.
Yeah, drunk rated scene. Every time I say something idiotic, I just want people to know that I said it, because when I listen back later, yeah. When Haley does come on, though, we're going to fucking grill her about religion, and we're going to make her squeamish about sex, which goes back to the smoker's porn thing. Like, I felt bad that it happened because I really think it soured her even more so on the idea of sex.
Well, she was talking a lot about, I don't know if she would want us saying this, but about having her first kiss when we were there last week.
She probably doesn't, but I think her potential boyfriend doesn't listen or know about this. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Haley's never even been kissed. She'll claim she's been kissed.
Well, Andy kissed her that night.
Oh, that's
Our
right.
friend Andy,
that's right. Yeah, just to do it.
There
just
we go.
So it's been done.
Quit worrying about it. I remember, I can't remember who all was doing it, but especially Margaret, like giving her step-by-step instructions on how to kiss, and everyone else just going, "You're not gonna have to think about that."
I know, Margaret. Yeah, she really broke it down.
She's
this
like,
is what needs
open
to
your
be done."
mouth a little, but not too much, and let his tongue in, and don't jam it down. It's like, you're gonna do it.
I haven't kissed a lot of girls, but when it happens, it happens.
I remember the first kiss; it just happened.
Yeah.
I was scared as fuck, but then it happened, and you flow right in. You flow, Haley. Don't worry about it. It's the easiest thing in the world, baby. Easiest thing.
have so much to say.
The Olympics are over, and it's time to fold up our flags and put them away and quit pretending like we give a shit.
I know. How much longer do you give it? Like, how many more days before we can stop fucking hearing about Michael Phelps?
Yeah, and
Either as a Letterman joke or
like
Water
I give
Cooler
a shit,
Conversation Network. Yeah.
I don't really give it. I don't pretend to give a shit.
I don't
am
either.
open about my hatred of the boring Olympics.
Yeah, and Michael Phelps, I could give a shit. He looks like a mongoloid.
Yeah, he is so fucking weird looking.